Welcome to Monk's Temple. Let us begin exactly where you are right now. Perhaps you are lying in bed, the blankets pulled up to your chin, the room dark except for the soft glow of this screen. Perhaps you are sitting in a chair, having stolen a few moments of quiet from a house that is full of noise and people who need things from you. Perhaps you are on a train, or in a car that is not moving because the traffic has decided, as it often does, that you do not need to get to your destination anytime soon. Wherever you are, whatever position your body has found itself in, I want you to do something very simple. I want you to become aware of the weight of your own body. Just feel it. Feel the places where your body makes contact with what is beneath you. The back of your legs against the seat. Your feet against the floor. Your shoulders, and whether they are holding tension that they do not need to hold. Just notice. There is nothing you need to change. There is nothing you need to fix. You are simply going to sit with yourself for a while, and that is enough. Let us talk about stress. Not the concept of stress, not the dictionary definition, but the actual physical experience of it. Think back to the last time you felt truly stressed. Not just mildly annoyed, but that specific flavor of panic that makes your mouth go dry and your heart forget how to beat at a normal pace. Perhaps it was in a doctor's office, sitting on that crinkly paper, wearing a gown that flaps open in the back, waiting for someone to come through the door with news that you are afraid to hear. Perhaps it was at work, staring at an email that felt like an attack, your fingers hovering over the keyboard, ready to type something you would regret within seconds of hitting send. Perhaps it was in a relationship, a conversation that started calmly and then suddenly was not calm at all, and you could feel the heat rising in your chest and the words forming in your throat that you knew you should not say but desperately wanted to say anyway. In that moment, something happened inside you that you did not consciously choose. Your body took over. Your heart rate increased. Your breathing became shallow and rapid. Your muscles tensed, preparing for action. Your digestion essentially shut down because your body decided that digesting your lunch was far less important than surviving whatever threat it perceived was coming your way. This is not a flaw in your design. This is not a sign that you are broken or weak or failing at being a calm person. This is a system that has been perfected over millions of years of evolution, passed down from ancestors who needed it to survive saber-toothed tigers and rival tribes and predators in the tall grass. The problem is that your body cannot tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a difficult conversation. The physiological response is identical. And so you find yourself sitting in a chair, completely safe, absolutely no physical threat present, and yet your body is screaming at you to fight or to flee, and you can do neither because fighting your boss is generally frowned upon and fleeing from the doctor's office would be deeply embarrassing. This is where we begin our work together. Not by trying to dismantle this ancient system. You cannot dismantle it. It is wired into the deepest, oldest parts of your brain. But you can learn to work with it. You can learn to find what I like to call the pause button. That tiny sliver of time between the stimulus and your response, between the trigger and the reaction, between the thing that happens and the thing you do about it. In that sliver of time, everything changes. In that sliver of time, you are no longer a puppet being jerked around by circumstances. You become the one holding the strings. You become the observer of your own experience rather than a victim of it. The Buddha, sitting under that famous tree more than 2,500 years ago, understood this better than anyone. He did not have access to brain scans or neuroscience or any of the fancy equipment we have today, but he saw directly into the nature of the human mind. He saw that pain is inevitable but suffering is optional. He described it using the metaphor of two arrows. The first arrow is the thing that happens. The doctor gives you bad news. That is the first arrow. It hurts. It is real. You cannot pretend it did not happen. The second arrow is the one you shoot into yourself. It is the story you tell about the first arrow. It is the spiraling thoughts. It is the catastrophic imagining. It is the "this always happens to me, why is the universe so unfair, I can't believe this is happening" narrative that you play on a loop in your mind. The first arrow is the event. The second arrow is your reaction to the event. And here is the crucial insight that can change your entire life if you let it sink in deeply enough: the second arrow is optional. You do not have to shoot it. You can simply let the first arrow land, feel the pain of it, and then stop. Just stop. Do not reach for the second arrow. Do not add to your own suffering. This is what the pause button practice is all about. It is the art of catching yourself before you shoot the second arrow. It is the skill of noticing that the urge to panic is arising, and instead of giving into it, you simply breathe. You feel the physical sensations in your body. You notice the tightness in your chest, the churning in your stomach, the dryness in your mouth, and you do not label any of it as bad. You do not try to make it go away. You just feel it. You let it be there. And in that simple act of allowing, something shifts. The intensity begins to decrease. The wave begins to recede. You have not solved the external problem. The doctor's news is still the same. The difficult email is still sitting in your inbox. The conversation still needs to happen. But you are now approaching it from a place of calm clarity rather than panicked reactivity. You are the surgeon in the operating room, hearing the beeping monitor and using it as information rather than becoming the alarm yourself. Before we go any deeper into this practice, before we explore all the different ways you can apply this in your daily life, I want to invite you to make a commitment to yourself. If this idea of finding peace in the middle of chaos resonates with you, if you sense that there is something here worth exploring further, please consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. Think of it not as subscribing to a YouTube channel, but as subscribing to your own well-being. It is a way of telling the universe that you are serious about this, that you are willing to show up for yourself, that you want these teachings to find you when you need them most. Just one click is all it takes. And now, let us continue our journey together. Let me tell you a story about a surgeon. Not just any surgeon, but one who was known throughout the entire hospital for his hands. They said his hands never trembled, not even during the longest, most complicated procedures when everyone else in the operating room was holding their breath. A young intern, eager to learn the secret of this legendary calm, finally got the chance to scrub in and observe him up close. The surgery was routine at first, the kind of procedure this surgeon had performed thousands of times before. But then, something went wrong. A monitor began to beep, a frantic high-pitched sound that cut through the quiet concentration of the room like a knife. It was the kind of alarm that made everyone's stomach drop, the kind that indicated a dangerous drop in the patient's vitals, the kind that meant things were about to get very serious very quickly. The intern's own heart immediately began to race. He looked at the surgeon, expecting to see panic, or at least urgency, some visible sign that things were not going according to plan. But the surgeon simply paused. He did not freeze in fear, but he stopped what he was doing. He looked at the monitor. He looked at the patient. He looked at the anesthesiologist. And then, in a voice that was so calm it seemed almost inappropriate given the circumstances, he said something the intern would never forget. He said, "Listen. The machine is very good at its job. It is telling us that something is wrong. That is its function. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Now, what is our function?" He did not argue with the beep. He did not get angry at the beep. He did not panic because of the beep. He acknowledged the beep. He used the beep as information. And then, with that same steady hand that had earned him his reputation, he proceeded to fix the problem. The patient survived. The surgery was a success. And the intern learned something that day that had nothing to do with scalpels or sutures. He learned that the alarm is not the enemy. The alarm is just information. The real skill is in how you respond to it. Now, think about your own life. Think about all the alarms that go off inside you every single day. The email that makes your jaw clench. The text message that makes your stomach drop. The look on someone's face that makes you instantly defensive. The doctor's words that make the room spin. These are your monitors. They are beeping. They are telling you that something might be wrong. But you are not the monitor. You are the surgeon. And the pause button is that tiny moment where you step back, acknowledge the beep, and ask yourself the most important question you will ever ask: what is my function right now? Your function in that moment is almost never to panic. Panic is not a function. It is a reaction. It is the system going into overdrive without your conscious participation. Your function might be to listen. Your function might be to gather more information. Your function might be to take a breath and feel your feet on the floor. Your function might simply be to wait. And waiting, real waiting, conscious waiting, is one of the most difficult and most powerful things a human being can do. There is a concept in psychology called the window of tolerance. Imagine it as a kind of emotional zone, a space where you can feel your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. When you are inside your window of tolerance, you can think clearly. You can make decisions. You can listen to difficult news without falling apart. You can have hard conversations without saying things you regret. But when stress pushes you outside that window, things change. If you go above it, you enter what is called hyperarousal. This is the fight-or-flight response in full effect. Your heart races, your thoughts spiral, you feel agitated and anxious and unable to sit still. You might lash out, or you might feel the overwhelming urge to run away. If you go below the window, you enter hypoarousal. This is the freeze response. You feel numb, disconnected, spaced out. Your mind goes blank. You cannot find the words you need. You just want to disappear. The pause button is what keeps you inside your window of tolerance. It is the mechanism that prevents you from being pushed into hyperarousal or hypoarousal when life gets difficult. And the way it works is surprisingly simple. You interrupt the automatic stress response by bringing your attention to something neutral. Something that is always there, always available, always happening in the present moment. The breath is the most obvious choice. But it is not the only one. You can bring your attention to the feeling of your feet on the floor. You can bring your attention to the sounds around you, just noticing them without judging them. You can bring your attention to the temperature of the air on your skin. Any of these anchors will work. Any of them can pull you back from the edge of panic and drop you gently back inside your window of tolerance. Let me give you a modern example that has nothing to do with doctors or hospitals. You are driving home after a long day. You are tired. You are hungry. You just want to be in your own space. And then someone cuts you off. They swerve into your lane without signaling, without looking, without any apparent awareness that you exist. Your immediate reaction is pure, unfiltered rage. Your hands grip the steering wheel. Your foot presses harder on the accelerator. Your mouth opens to shout words that no one can hear because you are alone in your car. This is the alarm. This is the beeping monitor. The first arrow has landed. Now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can follow the rage. You can speed up and tailgate them. You can honk your horn. You can roll down your window and gesture at them when you finally catch up. You can let this incident ruin the next hour of your life as you replay it in your mind, imagining all the things you should have said, all the ways you should have defended your honor. This is the second arrow. This is the suffering you add to the initial event. Or you can press the pause button. You can take one breath. Just one. You can feel your hands on the steering wheel. You can notice the heat in your face without trying to make it go away. You can say to yourself, quietly, internally, ah. There is the rage. Hello, rage. I see you. Thank you for trying to protect me. I do not need you right now. And then you let them go. You watch them drive away. You return your attention to the road ahead. The incident is over. It lasted 5 seconds. You do not carry it with you for the rest of the night. You have saved yourself an hour of suffering by finding that tiny sliver of pause. This is not about being a doormat. It is not about letting people walk all over you. It is about choosing your battles. It is about conserving your energy for the things that actually matter. The person who cut you off will never know that you forgave them. They will never know that you chose peace over rage. But you will know. Your body will know. Your nervous system will know. And that is what matters. There is a reason why every single spiritual tradition, every philosophical system, every wise person who has ever lived has pointed toward the breath. It is not because breathing is magical in some supernatural way. It is because the breath occupies a unique position in the human body. It is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between the things you control and the things that happen automatically. You do not have to remember to breathe while you are sleeping. Your body takes care of that for you, quietly and reliably, hour after hour, year after year. But you can also choose to take a deep breath right now, in this very moment, simply because you decided to. The breath is the one autonomic function that sits on the border between voluntary and involuntary. And that makes it the perfect tool for influencing the rest of your nervous system. When you are stressed, your breathing changes. It becomes shallow and rapid, centered in the upper chest rather than the belly. This is part of the fight or flight response. It prepares you for action by flooding your body with oxygen. But here is the thing that most people do not know. The relationship between stress and breathing is a two-way street. Yes, stress changes your breathing. But changing your breathing can also change your stress. You can hack your own nervous system simply by taking control of your breath. A long, slow exhale is a direct message to your brain, telling it that you are safe, that there is no tiger, that it is okay to power down the emergency systems. This is not philosophy. This is biology. This is the vagus nerve, the major highway of the parasympathetic nervous system, responding to the length of your exhale and carrying that information to every organ in your body. Let me tell you another story. This one is about a young woman who suffered from panic attacks. They would come without warning, in the middle of the grocery store, or while she was sitting at her desk at work, or sometimes even in the middle of the night, jerking her out of sleep with her heart pounding and her mind convinced that she was dying. She tried everything. She went to doctors who ran tests and found nothing wrong. She went to therapists who gave her techniques that sometimes helped and sometimes did not. She tried medication, but the side effects were almost as bad as the panic itself. She was desperate. She was exhausted. She was beginning to believe that this was simply how she would have to live for the rest of her life. One day, she met an old man in a park. He was not a therapist or a doctor or any kind of expert. He was just a man feeding pigeons on a bench. But something about him made her stop and sit down beside him. They started talking, and somehow, without meaning to, she found herself telling him about her panic attacks. She expected sympathy, or perhaps advice, or perhaps the awkward silence of someone who did not know what to say. Instead, he looked at her with complete calm and asked her a question. He said, "When the panic comes, do you try to push it away?" She thought about it. "Yes," she said. "Of course I do. I try to make it stop. I try to calm down. I try to think positive thoughts. I try everything." He nodded slowly. And then he said something that changed her life. He said, "Imagine you are standing in the ocean. A wave comes toward you. It is big. It is powerful. It looks like it might knock you over. What do you do?" She said, "I would try to get out of the way. I would swim away from it. I would fight against it." He smiled. "And what happens when you fight a wave?" She understood immediately. When you fight a wave, it knocks you down. It tumbles you. It holds you under. The more you struggle, the longer it takes to find the surface. "Exactly," he said. "Now imagine the same wave. But this time, instead of fighting it, you dive into it. You go under it. You let it pass over you. And then you come up on the other side, and the water is calm again. The panic is the wave. The breath is the dive. When you feel the panic rising, do not fight it. Do not try to push it away. That is like trying to push the ocean. Instead, bring your attention to your breath. Take one long, slow inhale. And then an even longer, slower exhale. You are diving under the wave. You are letting it pass over you. And when you come up on the other side, the panic is still there, but it is smaller now. It is receding. It is heading back out to sea. She started practicing this. Not just during panic attacks, but all the time. In the grocery store, she would breathe. At her desk, she would breathe. Lying in bed at night, waiting for the next attack to come, she would breathe. And slowly, gradually, the waves became smaller. They came less frequently. And when they did come, she no longer feared them. She knew how to dive. She knew how to let them pass over her and then come up on the other side. This is the practice. This is the pause button in action. It is not about making the stress go away. It is about changing your relationship to it. It is about no longer being afraid of your own experience. It is about knowing, with absolute certainty, that you can handle whatever arises because you have the breath, and the breath is always with you. The Buddha talked about this too. He spoke of the mind as a wild elephant, crashing through the jungle, destroying everything in its path. The breath is the rope. You do not try to fight the elephant. That would be impossible. An elephant is too strong. You simply tie the rope to a sturdy post. The elephant may pull and strain and trumpet and try to run. But the rope holds. And eventually, the elephant tires. Eventually, it calms down. Eventually, it sits quietly beside the post. The post is the breath. The elephant is your mind. And you are the one holding the rope. Let us talk about the second arrow in more detail because understanding this concept deeply is essential to everything else we will explore together. The first arrow, as we have discussed, is the event itself. It is the thing that happens. It is the doctor's words. It is the email from your boss. It is the argument with your partner. It is the car that cuts you off in traffic. The first arrow is inevitable. You cannot live a human life without being struck by first arrows. They come in all shapes and sizes, from minor inconveniences to major tragedies, and they will keep coming as long as you are alive. This is not pessimism. This is just reality. Life involves pain. The Buddha was not being gloomy when he said this. He was simply describing the way things are, the same way a doctor describes the way a body works. The second arrow is what makes the pain unbearable. The second arrow is the story you tell yourself about the first arrow. It is the layer of interpretation, judgment, and narrative that you add on top of the raw experience. The doctor gives you some concerning news. That is the first arrow. The second arrow is the spiral that follows. It is the voice in your head that says, "This is terrible. This is the worst thing that could happen. Why is this happening to me? I knew something was wrong. I should have come sooner. What if it gets worse? What if I die? What will happen to my family? How will they manage? I cannot believe this is happening. This always happens to me. I am so unlucky. I am so stupid for not taking better care of myself." Notice how the first arrow was one thing, a single event, a few words spoken in a room. The second arrow is 1,000 things, a cascade of thoughts and feelings and memories and fears that multiply and amplify and feed on each other until you are drowning in suffering that goes far beyond the original news. Here is the liberating truth. The second arrow is optional. You do not have to shoot it. You can feel the pain of the first arrow without adding all the extra layers. You can hear the difficult news and simply feel the sadness, the fear, the disappointment, without spinning out into catastrophic narratives about the future. You can sit with the raw sensation of the emotion without making it mean something about who you are or what your life is going to become. Let me give you an example that has nothing to do with doctors or hospitals. Imagine you are at a party. You are talking to someone, and you say something that you think is funny. But they do not laugh. They just look at you with a blank expression and then turn away to talk to someone else. The first arrow is the moment of social rejection. It stings. It is uncomfortable. You feel a flush of embarrassment. That is the raw experience. That is the first arrow. Now watch what happens next. The second arrow begins to fly. You think, oh no, they hate me. I should not have said that. I am so awkward. Everyone here probably thinks I am weird. Why do I always do this? I never know how to talk to people. There is something wrong with me. I am fundamentally unlikable. This is why I do not have many friends. This is why I am alone. I am going to be alone forever. And on it goes, a chain reaction of self-criticism and catastrophic thinking that turns a tiny moment of social awkwardness into a profound statement about your entire worth as a human being. The first arrow lasted 3 seconds. The second arrow can last for hours, days, even years if you keep feeding it. You carry that moment with you, replaying it, analyzing it, adding to it, until it becomes a core part of your identity. I am the person who says the wrong thing. I am the person who people do not like. All from one blank look at a party. The pause button is what stops the second arrow in mid-flight. When you feel that initial sting of embarrassment, you take a breath. You notice the feeling in your body. The heat in your face. The tightness in your chest. You do not try to make it go away. You just feel it. And then you notice the thoughts arising. Oh, there is the thought that I am awkward. There is the thought that everyone hates me. There is the thought that I will be alone forever. You notice them, but you do not believe them. You do not argue with them. You do not try to push them away. You just watch them, the way you might watch clouds passing across the sky. And because you are not feeding them with your attention and your belief, they begin to dissolve. They lose their power. They pass. This takes practice. It is not something you will master overnight. The habit of shooting the second arrow is deeply ingrained. You have been doing it your whole life. But every time you pause, every time you notice the second arrow before it hits, you are weakening that habit. You are building a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain a different way of responding to pain. There is a modern psychological concept that maps perfectly onto this ancient teaching. It is called cognitive diffusion. It comes from a therapeutic approach called acceptance and commitment therapy. The idea is simple. You learn to separate yourself from your thoughts. You learn to see thoughts as just thoughts, as events in the mind, rather than as truths about reality. When the thought arises, I am so awkward, you do not buy into it. You do not argue with it. You simply notice it. You say to yourself, I am having the thought that I am awkward. Or even simpler, you just say, thinking. You acknowledge that a thought is present, but you do not let it define you. You are not the thought. You are the one noticing the thought. You are the sky, not the weather. The Buddha expressed this same insight when he talked about the nature of the mind. He said that the mind is like a monkey, jumping from branch to branch, never still, never quiet. The thoughts are the branches. And most of the time, you are the monkey, swinging wildly from one thought to the next, completely caught up in the movement. But there is another possibility. You can become the tree. You can let the monkey jump and swing and chatter, while you remain steady, rooted, unmoved. You are not the monkey. You are the tree. The pause button is what allows you to shift your identity from the monkey to the tree. Let me tell you a story about a baker. Not a famous baker, just an ordinary man who had been baking bread in the same small shop for more than 40 years. His hands knew the dough the way a musician knows their instrument. He could tell by feel alone whether the loaf would emerge from the oven with that perfect golden crust. One morning, while reaching into the deep brick oven, his forearm brushed against the metal door. The contact lasted only a fraction of a second, but the oven was fiercely hot. The pain was immediate and intense. It demanded his full attention. His first instinct was to drop everything. To let go of the peel he was holding, to grab his arm, to run to the sink, to scream. But he did not do any of those things. In that split second, between the moment of the burn and the moment of reaction, he paused. He looked at his arm. He saw the reddening skin. He felt the searing pain. But he also looked at the loaf of bread on the peel in his other hand. It was a perfect loaf, proofed just right, ready to go into the oven. If he dropped it, it would be ruined. So he did something that surprised even himself. He acknowledged the pain. He said to himself, silently, "This is a burn. It hurts. I will tend to it. But first, this." He carefully slid the loaf into the oven. He closed the door. He set the peel down. And only then did he walk calmly to the sink and run cold water over his arm. The burn was real. The pain was real. But he did not let it take over. He held the pain and he held his responsibility, and he attended to both in their proper order. This is the pause button in its most elegant form. It is not about being pain-free. It is about maintaining your capacity to function wisely even when pain is present. Now bring this back to your life. You are in the doctor's office. The news is difficult. Your instinct is to fall apart. But what if you could do what the baker did? What if you could acknowledge the pain, feel it fully, and still continue to function? What if you could hear the difficult news, feel the fear rising, and still ask the questions you need to ask? This is not about suppressing your emotions. The baker did not suppress the pain. He felt it. He acknowledged it. But he did not let it hijack his entire being. This is the middle way between repression and indulgence. You do not push the feeling away, and you do not let it consume you. You hold it. You feel it. And you continue. There is a concept in neuroscience called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on your experiences. Every time you practice the pause button, you are strengthening the neural pathways that make it easier to do again. Think of it like a path through a forest. The first time you walk it, it is barely visible. It is hard work. But the 100th time, it becomes a clear trail. Your brain works the same way. The automatic stress response is a well-worn highway. The pause button is a new path. Every time you choose it, you are making it easier to choose again tomorrow. Let me give you a modern example. You are at work. Your phone buzzes. It is a text from your partner. It says, "We need to talk tonight." 3 words. Your stomach drops. Your mind immediately goes into overdrive. What does that mean? What have I done? Are they unhappy? Do they want to leave? You spend the next 6 hours in a state of low-grade panic, imagining worst-case scenarios. By the time you get home, you are exhausted and defensive. This is the second arrow in full flight. The first arrow was 3 words on a screen. That is all. They could mean anything. They could mean, we need to talk about what to have for dinner. They could mean 1,000 different things, most of them neutral. But you did not pause. You just grabbed the second arrow and started shooting. Now imagine a different response. The phone buzzes. You read the words. You feel the drop in your stomach. You notice it. You say to yourself, "Ah, fear is here. Hello, fear. I see you." And then you take a breath. You feel your feet on the floor. You look at the words again. We need to talk tonight. And you say to yourself, I do not know what this means. I will find out tonight. Until then, I am going to continue with my day. The fear is still there. It does not disappear. But it is smaller now. It is in the background instead of the foreground. You have used the pause button. You have dodged the second arrow. And you have saved yourself 6 hours of unnecessary suffering. This is the practice. This is what we are building together. One pause at a time. There is something important we need to understand about the nature of thoughts. Most of us live our entire lives believing that our thoughts are true. Not just true in some abstract sense, but literally true, accurate representations of reality. When a thought arises, we automatically believe it. The thought says, I am not good enough, and we feel the weight of that statement as if it were a fact. The thought says, something terrible is going to happen, and we immediately begin to experience the anxiety of that terrible thing as if it were already happening. This is how the mind works. Thoughts are like suggestions. They pop up, and if we do not examine them, they become the lens through which we see the world. But here is the liberating truth. Thoughts are not facts. They are just thoughts. They are events in the mind. They are electrical impulses. They are no more true or false than a cloud passing through the sky is true or false. Some thoughts are useful. Some thoughts are not. But none of them deserve your automatic belief. Let me give you an example. You are walking down the street. You see someone you know on the other side. You raise your hand to wave, but they do not wave back. A thought arises immediately. They ignored me. They must be angry with me. What did I do? I always say the wrong thing. People are always upset with me. This entire cascade of thoughts is based on one piece of information: someone did not wave back. But there are 100 other explanations. Maybe they did not see you. Maybe they were lost in thought. Maybe their eyesight is not good. You do not know. But your mind, without any evidence, chose the story that makes you feel bad about yourself. And because you believe that story, you now feel rejected and ashamed, all for no reason. The pause button is what allows you to see thoughts for what they are. When the thought arises, they ignored me, you pause. You take a breath. And you say to yourself, interesting. There is a thought. Is that true? Do I actually know that? Or do I just know that someone did not wave? You create a tiny space between the thought and your belief in the thought. In that space, freedom lives. The Buddha talked about this extensively. He said that the mind is like a mirror. A mirror reflects whatever is placed in front of it. It does not judge. It does not hold on to anything. It just reflects, clearly and accurately, and then lets it go. The next reflection comes, and the mirror does not compare it to the previous one. It just reflects again. This is the nature of a healthy mind. Thoughts arise, and the mind reflects them. Feelings arise, and the mind reflects them. And then they pass. There is no clinging. There is no story about how this thought means something about who I am. But most of us do not use our minds this way. Instead of being the mirror, we become the reflection. We identify with the thoughts. We grab onto them and say, "This is me. I am this thought. I am this feeling." And then we suffer because thoughts and feelings are impermanent. They change. They pass away. And when they pass away, if we have identified with them, we feel like we are dying too. There is a modern psychological concept that helps with this. It is called decentering. It means stepping back from your experience and observing it from a distance. Instead of being lost in the movie, you become the person watching the movie. You can see the characters. You can hear the dialogue. You can feel the emotions of the scene. But you know, on some level, that it is just a movie. You are not the characters. You are the one in the seat, watching. Let me tell you a story about a woman who learned this in a very practical way. She was a public speaker. She spent a lot of time on stages in front of large audiences. She was good at it. She had been doing it for years. But one day, something changed. She walked onto the stage, looked out at the sea of faces, and her mind went completely blank. She could not remember the first word of her presentation. She could not remember her name. Panic rose in her chest like a wave. Her hands began to shake. Her mouth went dry. She was frozen. In that moment, everything she had ever learned about public speaking deserted her. But something else was there. Something deeper. A voice inside her, quiet but clear, said, "This is interesting. Look at this. You are panicking. Your hands are shaking. Your mind is blank. Watch it. Do not try to stop it. Just watch it." So she watched. She stood there, in front of hundreds of people, and she watched herself panic. She noticed the shaking. She noticed the dry mouth. She noticed the racing heart. She noticed the thoughts screaming, "You are failing." And she just watched them, the way you might watch a thunderstorm from a window. And then, after what felt like an eternity but was probably only 30 seconds, something shifted. The panic did not disappear, but it settled. It became quieter. And in the space that opened up, the first word of her presentation appeared. She took a breath. She said the word. And then the next word came. She finished the presentation. It was not her best. But she did not run off the stage. She simply watched the storm and waited for it to pass. That is decentering. That is the mirror mind. That is the pause button in action. You do not have to stop the panic. You just have to stop being the panic. You become the one watching the panic. And in that shift, everything changes. Let us talk about the body. We have spent a lot of time discussing thoughts and emotions, but the body is where all of this actually lives. Stress is not just an idea. It is a physical experience. It is tension in the shoulders. It is a knot in the stomach. It is a tightness in the jaw. It is shallow breathing and a racing heart. These are not metaphors. These are real sensations, happening in real time, in the only body you will ever have. And yet, most of us are completely disconnected from this dimension of our experience. We live in our heads, lost in thoughts about the past and worries about the future, while the body is sending us signals that we never bother to receive. The Buddha understood the importance of the body. He taught mindfulness of the body as one of the foundational practices. He said that the body is the first and most accessible object of meditation. You do not need to go anywhere. You do not need special conditions. The body is always with you, always breathing, always sensing, always providing a doorway into the present moment. When you are stressed, the body knows before the mind does. The tightness comes before the thought. The shallow breath comes before the story. If you can learn to notice the body, you can catch the stress response in its earliest stages, before it has fully taken over. Let me tell you a story about a man who learned this lesson in a difficult way. He had chronic pain. Not the kind of pain that comes and goes, but the kind that is always there, a constant companion, a background hum that never stopped. He had seen every doctor. He had tried every treatment. Nothing helped. He was exhausted, depressed, and convinced that he would spend the rest of his life suffering. One day, someone suggested something that sounded ridiculous to him. They suggested that he stop trying to make the pain go away. They suggested that he simply feel it. Not fight it. Not resist it. Just feel it. He was skeptical. Why would he want to feel pain? He had spent years trying to escape it. But he was desperate, so he tried. He sat down in a chair. He closed his eyes. And he brought his attention to the place in his body where the pain was strongest. He expected it to be unbearable. But something surprising happened. When he stopped fighting, when he stopped tensing against it, the pain changed. It was still there. It did not disappear. But it became something he could observe rather than something that overwhelmed him. He noticed that it was not one solid thing. It was many sensations layered together. There was a burning quality. There was a throbbing quality. There was a dull ache. There were edges and centers and variations. And as he observed these different qualities, the pain lost some of its power over him. It became an object of investigation rather than an enemy to be defeated. This is the practice of turning toward the body. When stress arises, do not run from it. Do not distract yourself. Do not reach for your phone or pour a drink or turn on the television. Instead, turn toward the sensation. Where is it in your body? What does it actually feel like? Is it hot or cold? Is it sharp or dull? Is it moving or still? Just investigate. You are not trying to make it go away. You are simply getting to know it. And in that process of getting to know it, something shifts. The sensation is still there, but you are no longer victimized by it. You are no longer running from it. You are sitting with it, and it is sitting with you, and somehow, that makes it bearable. Let me give you a modern example that is less dramatic but just as important. You are sitting in traffic. You are already late. The car in front of you is not moving. You feel the frustration rising. Before you get lost in the story about how unfair this is and how you are going to be in trouble and why does this always happen, pause. Bring your attention to your body. Feel your hands on the steering wheel. Are they gripping too tightly? Feel your jaw. Is it clenched? Feel your shoulders. Are they up around your ears? Just notice. Do not judge. Do not try to change anything. Just notice. And then take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Loosen your grip on the wheel. Unclench your jaw. You have not solved the traffic. You are still late. But you are no longer adding physical tension to the situation. You have used the body to find the pause. There is a reason why every wisdom tradition includes some form of body awareness. The body is always in the present moment. It cannot be in the past. It cannot be in the future. It is always here, always now. When you bring your attention to the body, you are bringing yourself into the present moment. You are stepping out of the river of thoughts and planting your feet on solid ground. The thoughts may still be flowing, but you are no longer being carried away by them. You are standing on the bank, watching them pass. The Buddha used the metaphor of a gatekeeper. Imagine a city with a single gate. The gatekeeper sits at that gate, watching everyone who enters and leaves. He does not try to stop them. He does not judge them. He simply watches. He knows who is coming and who is going. He is alert, aware, present. This is what the body can be for you. It is the gate. Your attention is the gatekeeper. Every sensation that arises, every feeling, every emotion, every thought that tries to enter, you simply watch it from the gate. You do not chase after it. You do not try to block it. You just watch. And because you are watching, you are not lost. This takes practice. The habit of living in your head is deeply ingrained. You have spent your whole life up in your thoughts, and the body has become a stranger. But you can rebuild the connection. You can come home to your body. Start small. Several times a day, just pause and feel your feet on the floor. Feel your breath moving in and out. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. These are not interruptions to your day. They are returns to yourself. They are homecomings. And every time you do it, you are strengthening the neural pathways that make presence possible. You are becoming the gatekeeper. You are finding the pause. Let us talk about impermanence. This is one of the most beautiful and challenging teachings the Buddha offered. Everything changes. Everything arises, lingers for a while, and then passes away. The breath arises and passes with every cycle. Thoughts arise and pass. Emotions arise and pass. Nothing lasts. This is not pessimistic. It is simply reality. And when you truly understand it, it becomes the foundation of genuine freedom. The reason this matters for the pause button practice is simple. When you are in the middle of a stressful moment, it feels permanent. The panic feels like it will never end. The anxiety feels like it has always been there. This is an illusion. Every single feeling you have ever had has passed away. Every moment of panic has eventually subsided. Not one lasted forever. And this one will not last forever either. Let me tell you a story about a woman who learned this lesson directly. She was afraid of flying. Not just nervous, but genuinely terrified. The thought of getting on an airplane would trigger panic attacks that lasted for days. She tried everything. Statistics, books, logic. Nothing helped. The fear was too big, too overwhelming. One day, a friend said something she could not forget. The friend said, "You are not afraid of flying. You are afraid of the feeling of being afraid. You think the fear will last forever, and that is what terrifies you." She thought about this. It was true. The worst part was not the fear itself. It was the belief that the fear would never end. So she decided to test this. The next time she had to fly, she did something different. When the fear arose, she did not fight it. She did not try to make it go away. She just sat with it, and she paid attention to one thing. She watched whether the fear stayed the same. And she noticed something new. The fear was not one solid thing. It was moving. It would spike, then ease. It would intensify, then relax. It had waves and rhythms. It was not permanent. It was changing moment by moment. This changed everything. She was no longer afraid of the fear because she could see that it would not last. She could ride the waves instead of being drowned by them. She still felt fear when she flew. But it was no longer unbearable. It was just another sensation passing through. This is the gift of understanding impermanence. When you are in the doctor's office and the news is difficult, remember that this moment will pass. The feeling in your chest will pass. The thoughts will pass. Not because you make them pass, but because everything passes. It is the nature of things. Your job is not to hold on or push away. Your job is simply to be present while it passes. Think about the last time you had a fight with someone you love. In the middle of it, everything felt ruined. The anger felt so permanent. But then, hours or days later, it passed. It always passes. Every single time. The pause button is what allows you to remember this in the middle of the storm. When the stress hits, you pause. You take a breath. And you say to yourself, "This will pass." It always has. It always will. I do not need to fight it. I just need to let it be here while it passes through. This is not resignation. This is wisdom. You are the sky. The stress is just weather. And weather always changes. We have traveled far together in this time. We have explored the nature of stress and the possibility of pause. We have spoken of the first arrow and the second arrow, of the surgeon and the baker, of the public speaker and the woman afraid of flying. We have talked about the body and the breath, about thoughts and impermanence. And now we arrive at the end of our journey, which is really just the beginning of yours. The pause button is not something you need to acquire. It is not something outside you that you must find and purchase and learn to use. It is already here. It has always been here. It is the space between your thoughts. It is the silence between sounds. It is the awareness that notices everything and is itself unnoticed. You do not need to create the pause. You only need to remember it. The next time you find yourself in the doctor's office, heart pounding, mouth dry, fear rising, remember this. Take one breath. Just one. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Notice the fear without becoming it. You are the one noticing. You are the awareness in which all of this is happening. The fear is a visitor. You are the home. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, remember this. Feel your hands on the wheel. Feel your jaw. Breathe. Let them go. They are already gone. Do not carry them with you for the rest of the day. The next time you receive news that shakes you, remember this. The first arrow has landed. It hurts. Feel the hurt. But do not reach for the second arrow. Do not add the story. Just feel what is here, and know that it will pass. It always passes. This is the practice. It is simple. It is not easy. But it is possible. It is possible for you, right now, in this very life, to suffer less. To be more present. To find calm in the middle of chaos. The button is there. It is always there. All you have to do is press it. Thank you for being here at Monk's Temple. May you find peace. May you find pause. May you remember, in every moment, who you really are.